The Creeper is the most iconic mob in Minecraft. I mean, they're literally on the merch, the shirts, the plushies, you name it. But if you've played Minecraft even once, you probably already know that. Before the video, I would like you to consider subscribing to my channel. So now you can put the video in the background, watch it, or just listen. What we're going to talk about is what creepers actually are, where they came from, and what's up with their super weird behavior. So first things first, creepers are not animals. They're not zombies, skeletons, spiders, or even Endermen. They're something else entirely. They don't have arms, they don't make any noise until they're about to explode, and they never stop coming for you. And the scariest part, you'll never hear them until it's too late. The origin of the creeper, real life. Before we jump into theories, let's talk real quick about how creepers were created in the real world, by the devs. So back when Notch, the guy who made Minecraft, was making pigs, he accidentally messed up the code and flipped the height and width values. So instead of a short, chunky pig, he got this tall, weird-looking thing. He could have just deleted it, but instead he was like, yo, that's creepy, let's roll with it. And boom, the creeper was born. That mistake literally became the most famous Minecraft mob ever. Imagine if he never made that bug. No creepers, no explosions, no boom, and probably way fewer rage quits. Creeper basics for new players. So, for anyone who's newer to the game or hasn't fought a creeper in a while, here's what they do. Creepers spawn in the dark, just like zombies and skeletons. They don't burn in the sun. They don't make any noise when they're walking. When they get close to you, they stop and start hissing. After about 1.5 seconds, they explode. The explosion can straight up kill you without armor. They also destroy blocks around them unless you're in a server that disables griefing. Oh, and sometimes they drop music discs if a skeleton kills them. Weird, right? Why are creepers so silent? Now here's the first weird part. Every other mob in the game makes noise. Zombies groan, skeletons rattle, spiders hiss and screech. But creepers? Dead silent. Until they're about to blow your house up. Why? Maybe that's part of their design. Creepers seem like ambush predators, like a kamikaze-style assassin. They're not trying to fight you, they're trying to surprise you. You never get to react. It's just, boom, you're gone. Your dog's gone. Your chest with 32 diamonds is gone. And you're staring at a crater, thinking about your life choices. What are creepers, actually? Okay, here's where the theories come in. Some people think they're plant-based mobs, like creepers aren't animals. They're more like walking plants. The green color, the fact that they don't make sounds, and how they explode could all be connected to some kind of weird plant biology. Living TNT. This one makes sense. Creepers might be some kind of experiment gone wrong. Maybe they were. Created by an ancient Minecraft civilization that played around with redstone and TNT, trying to create living weapons. But instead of controlling them, they lost control. And now they just roam the world, blowing up everything. Failed Endermen. Hear me out. Endermen and creepers are both super weird, both don't really make normal noises. Both are tall and kind of alien. Maybe creepers are failed Endermen. Like some ancient experiment to create teleporting beings went wrong and boom, creepers were born. Corrupted mobs. Another theory is that creepers were once normal mobs. Maybe villagers or something, and got corrupted by dark magic or ancient energy. That could explain their suicidal behavior. They don't even try to survive. They just want to take you down with them. What's with the explosion? Let's talk about the explosion itself. No other mob in Minecraft does this. Why would a creature evolve to blow itself up? That makes zero sense, unless it's doing it on purpose. Creepers don't just accidentally explode, they choose to. When they walk up to you, they start a countdown, and if you don't stop them in time, they go out with a bang. It's like they were designed for one thing: destruction. Whether they're natural or not, it's clear they're made to ruin your day. Charged creepers. What the heck? If you've ever played in a thunderstorm and seen a creeper get hit by lightning, then you know about charged creepers. These things are just straight up nightmares. They glow blue. Their explosions are way stronger. And if they kill another mob, that mob drops its head, zombie head, skeleton head, etc. That last part is crazy. It's like charged creepers or special assassins made to collect trophies, like the final form of a creeper. Or maybe that's what they originally were, and regular creepers are just weaker versions. Charged creepers don't happen often though. The chance of lightning hitting a creeper is super rare unless you set it up with a lightning rod or a trident with channeling creeper behavior. Is personal. Here's something that makes creepers feel extra personal. Unlike other mobs, creepers don't really chase you in the same way. Zombies and skeletons are brainless. They just run at you. Creepers, they're smarter. They sneak. They hide behind corners. They wait until you're distracted, then they show up like, hey, I'm about to explode. Sometimes it even feels like they're targeting you. Like you're building your base, chilling, everything's fine, and boom, a creeper just ends your progress. It's like they know the worst possible moment to strike. And that's why people hate them. Not because they're hard to fight, but because they're annoying in the most personal way. They don't kill you in a fair fight, they ruin your stuff and dip. They don't even drop useful loot. Why do players hate creepers? It's kind of wild. Creepers are the worst thing in the game, and also the most iconic. They're on the Minecraft logo. Mojang literally made them the mascot. But ask any player who's had their house blown up for the 5th time during survival mode and they'll tell you, I hate these things with every fiber of my being, but at the same time, if Mojang removed creepers, it wouldn't be Minecraft anymore. Creepers are the game. They're the chaos, the surprise, the random destruction. They're the reason you light up every corner of your base with torches. They're the reason you build walls, dig trenches, and sleep through thunderstorms. They make you paranoid. And honestly, that's kind of brilliant game design. Alright, so let's talk about this theory that's kind of weird at first, but actually makes a lot of sense the more you think about it. What if creepers aren't animals, but plants? Yeah, actual walking plants. Not like big green zombies, or mutants, but literally plant-based creatures that evolve to move around and explode. Sounds crazy, right? But Minecraft has never really explained what creepers are supposed to be. All we know is they're silent, creepy, and they blow up, in your face. So when you start looking at how they behave and how they're designed, the idea that they're some kind of weird plant starts to make a lot of sense. First of all, just look at them. They're completely green, with that strange pattern that doesn't really look like skin or fur or scales. It kind of looks like moss, or leaves, or something that grows on the side of a tree. They blend into the grass and trees really well, which makes sense if they're a plant trying to sneak up on things. Animals usually have eyes, mouths, claws, something that makes them feel alive. Creepers, they don't have any of that. Just that blank, depressed-looking face and a body that kind of wiggles when they walk. It's unnatural, and not in the same way as zombies or skeletons. It's more like nature messed up and gave a tree legs. Then there's the sound, or the lack of it. Every hostile mob in Minecraft makes noise. Zombies groan, skeletons rattle, spiders hiss, and Endermen make those glitchy teleporting sounds. But creepers, nothing. They sneak up on you completely silently and only make a sound when they're literally about to explode. That kind of behavior doesn't really match an animal, but it does feel like something that evolved to avoid detection until the very last second, like a trap. And that's where it gets even weirder. The explosion. Why would a living thing want to blow itself up? What kind of survival tactic is that? Well, in the real world, there actually are plants that explode to spread their seeds, no joke. There are trees and fruit that literally build up pressure and launch their seeds across the ground when they're ripe. It's violent and it works. So what if creepers do the same thing? What if the explosion isn't an attack but reproduction? Maybe when a creeper blows up, it spreads spores or seeds underground, and that's how more creepers are born. We don't see baby creepers anywhere, And they don't spawn from eggs or get born like animals. They just appear. Maybe the game skips the growing phase, but lore-wise, they could be growing underground after an explosion, like plants regrowing, after a forest fire. And then there's the weirdest part of their behavior. They're scared of cats. For real. A creeper will walk straight through a pack of zombies without hesitation, but if there's a cat nearby, it turns and runs the other way. That's not just a random coding decision. That's intentional behavior. Why would they be afraid of cats? If they were animals, maybe cats could be predators or something. But as plants? That's interesting. Anyone who's had a cat knows they love to mess with plants. They knock them over, chew on them, dig them up. It makes sense that creepers, being soft and leafy, might instinctively avoid cats because they'd mess up their bodies or whatever weird system they've got going on. Let's not forget what creepers drop when they die. It's not meat, it's not bones. It's not anything organic, it's gunpowder, straight up explosive dust. You don't get that from killing animals. But you could imagine some kind of chemical buildup inside a plant that evolved to explode. Like a pressure release system. Maybe the creeper builds up gases inside itself, and when it reaches a target, boom, it releases everything at once. And if you kill it before it explodes, you get that leftover material. And if we take that idea further, think about charged creepers, the ones that get hit by lightning and suddenly become 10 times more dangerous. It's like lightning mutates them. They glow blue, they explode harder, and they even drop mob heads if they blow up another mob. That's a whole different level of creepy. If they're plants, maybe lightning is like a growth enhancer. It's turning them into a supercharged version of themselves, like nature gone wild. Maybe that's how creepers used to be in ancient times. Massive seed bombs that cleared forests and spread their spores everywhere. Creepers also don't act like they care about you, the player. Most hostile mobs come after you to attack, to eat you, to turn you into one of them or whatever. Creepers don't do that. They don't eat. They don't hunt. They don't follow you forever like skeletons do. They just get close enough to go boom. That's not an enemy with a goal. That's a creature with a single function. It doesn't hate you. It doesn't even know what you are. You're just in the way. The creeper doesn't care if it lives or dies. It just wants to complete its weird mission. What if they came from an ancient biome, like a huge overgrown forest that used to exist in Minecraft a long time ago? A place full of dangerous plant life, with creepers being the apex species. Not because they were hunters, but because nothing messed with them. Every time something came too close, boom, gone. Maybe creepers were the defense system of that forest. And even though the forest is gone now, the creepers are still around, roaming the overworld, still doing what they were made to do, even though they don't really belong anymore. You never see them in the Nether or the End. Just in the overworld. Maybe they can't survive anywhere else. Maybe they're bound to the grass and the dirt and the trees, like leftover weapons from a natural disaster that we never got to see. And now, they're just wandering, looking for something to blow up, following an instinct that no longer makes sense. So yeah, maybe creepers aren't animals at all. Maybe they're plants. Walking bombs made of moss and leaves and ancient instincts. They don't think. They don't plan. They're not evil. They're just green time bombs doing what they were made to do. Sneak up, explode, and vanish. And honestly, that's way scarier than a zombie. Because a zombie chases you. A creeper waits. And when you least expect it, when you're just trying to build your house or mine some diamonds, it ends everything in a split second. That's not just a monster. That's nature with a twist. You ever look at a creeper and think, there's no way this thing just exists naturally? Like, come on. It's a walking bomb. A thing that silently creeps up on you and detonates itself. That's not some evolution thing. That's a design. Something this precise, this dangerous, it feels man-made. Or at least made by something smart. That's where this theory kicks in. What if creepers were actually built? Not born. What if they're weapons? Like actual ancient tech from a long-forgotten civilization that once existed in the Minecraft world? It kind of makes sense when you look at the bigger picture. Creepers don't behave like any other animal or mob. Most mobs in Minecraft follow basic instincts. Zombies go for brains. Skeletons shoot you from afar. Spiders are fast and climb walls. All of that makes sense. Creepers? They walk up to you and explode. They don't try to survive. They don't run. They don't retreat. They're a one-use weapon, one job, walk toward target, blow up. Mission complete. That behavior sounds less like an animal and more like a military drone, like something programmed to go to its target and self-destruct. And when you start connecting that to other stuff in the game, things get even more interesting. Let's rewind the clock a bit. We know that the Minecraft world has ruins, ancient temples, desert pyramids, strongholds, even the end cities. There's evidence of a bunch of civilizations that lived and disappeared before the player ever spawned. You show up in the world with nothing, but all around you are signs that people or something was here before you. The creeper could be a leftover from one of those old civilizations. Maybe they were in a war. Maybe they were being attacked by mobs or other kingdoms, and they needed a way to fight back. So they created creepers. Think about it. If you're a group of ancient builders and you're constantly getting attacked, what's the best defense? Something cheap to build, easy to replicate, doesn't need armor or weapons, something that moves on its own, something disposable. Boom. The creeper. You don't need it to come back. You don't even need it to be smart. You just need it to find an enemy and explode hard enough to take them out. And if it dies in the process, that's fine. One less threat to worry about. Now here's the messed up part. What if they didn't just use creepers in battle? What if they used them for control? Like, imagine you're a ruler in some big stone castle and your people are getting too rebellious. How do you keep them in check? Easy. You fill the streets with creepers. They don't think, they don't feel, they just enforce. You get too close to one, boom. Next time, people think twice before stepping out of line. It's dark, yeah, but it fits. Creepers aren't evil, they're tools. Tools that outlived their creators. There's also the fact that creepers don't drop normal loot. No bones, no meat, just gunpowder. Literally the main ingredient for TNT. You kill a creeper, you get explosive powder. That alone screams weapon, like it's packed with whatever fuel it needs to go off. And if you kill it before it explodes, congrats, you just salvage the payload. It's like disabling a bomb and taking the parts. Again, this isn't natural, animal behavior. This is military stuff, and don't forget about the charged creepers. You hit one with lightning and suddenly it becomes a super version of itself. Bigger blast, blue glow, more destructive. That's not just random. That feels like some kind of backup protocol or final mode, like a creeper on steroids. Maybe the ancients had ways to charge them on purpose, using lightning rods or redstone tech to unleash bigger attacks when they really needed to wipe something out, like when the battle got really bad. Some people even think the creepers were supposed to be part of a defense system. Think about strongholds, the big underground dungeons with the end portal. Those places are guarded by silverfish. Kinda lame, honestly. But what if creepers were originally supposed to be part of that? Maybe the creepers were the mobile defense units and silverfish were just cleanup or swarmers. Over time, creepers got loose. Their masters disappeared. But the creepers kept doing what they were built to do. Now they roam the world, confused and without orders. And they still follow that last command burned into their code. If it moves, explode. Some players think the ancient builders didn't even survive the creepers. Like maybe the whole thing backfired. They made a weapon too good. One that couldn't tell friend from foe. One that just kept exploding. Maybe it started as a controlled army, but then something went wrong. The redstone tech failed. The AI glitched. Or the creepers just evolved past their original programming. And in the chaos, the civilization that built them, gone. Wiped off the map. Only ruins remain. And their weapons, still wandering. And here's something creepy. Ever notice how creepers don't attack mobs? They only go after the player. They don't blow up near zombies or skeletons or even villagers. Just you. It's like they recognize something in the player. Maybe they see you as a threat, or maybe your existence reminds them of their creators. Maybe, in their broken little brains, they see you as the final target in a war that ended centuries ago, and they've been waiting all this time to finish the job. That's why they don't make noise. That's why they don't team up. That's why they don't work in packs or have hierarchy. They were never part of a species. They were machines. Organic bombs made to do one thing and do it perfectly. And even now, long after their makers vanished, they're still doing it. Still waiting in the shadows. Still hiding behind trees and in dark caves, waiting for someone to come close enough for their last command to kick in. And if that's true, then every time you kill one, you're not just defending yourself. You're putting down a leftover piece of a forgotten war. You're disarming a weapon from a battle that ended before your world even began. And maybe, just maybe, if you listen closely when they hiss, you're hearing the last breath of something built by hands that haven't touched this world in 1,000 years. But again, none of this is confirmed. Minecraft doesn't give us official lore like that. It leaves it up to players like us to connect the dots, come up with the stories, and figure out what all this stuff could mean. And honestly, that's the fun of it. Creepers aren't just annoying mobs that blow up your builds. They're a mystery, a leftover puzzle piece. And every time you survive a creeper encounter, you're not just dodging a random enemy, you're dodging the past. Are creepers failed Enderman experiments? So by now we've talked about creepers as natural plants and as ancient weapons. But this next theory, it might be the weirdest, and honestly the most cursed of them all. The idea that creepers are actually failed Endermen, or more specifically, failed attempts at creating or cloning Endermen. Maybe someone or something tried to replicate the Enderman and messed up big time. And what they ended up with was the creeper. Now before you roll your eyes, think about this for a second. Endermen and creepers are two of the strangest mobs in Minecraft. Neither of them fit in with the rest of the game. Zombies, skeletons, spiders, those all feel grounded in survival game logic. But creepers and Endermen, they're on a whole different level. They're both silent, both unpredictable, and both feel like they don't belong in the same category as everything else. And when you start comparing them side by side, you start noticing some weird patterns. For starters, look at their behavior. Endermen don't attack you unless you look directly at them. They teleport, they pick up blocks, they're intelligent in their own weird way. But they're not just mindless mobs. They're watchers, observers. Now take the creeper. It doesn't teleport. It doesn't pick up blocks. But it does silently observe, just like the Enderman. It approaches without sound. It waits until it's close. Then it detonates. What if the creeper is what happens when you try to make an Enderman, but forget to include the teleporting ability? Let's say some ancient group, maybe even the same civilization we talked about in Chapter 3, was messing around with the idea of building their own Enderman. Maybe they'd seen Enderman in the end. Maybe they'd brought one back, maybe they were just curious. Whatever the case, they wanted that power. They saw Enderman picking up blocks and vanishing into thin air, and they thought, we need that. So they started experimenting. Maybe they used redstone tech, maybe some form of dark magic. Maybe they even messed with ender pearls, trying to extract something from them. And the result? Creepers. Glitched out, broken Endermen. They couldn't teleport. They couldn't think. They couldn't mimic the Enderman properly, but they could move, they could approach. And most importantly, they exploded. That could have been an accident or maybe even a failsafe. If the cloning process failed, the creature would self-destruct so it couldn't spread or infect anything else. Think about it. A creature that can teleport is dangerous. But a creature that tries to teleport and instead just builds up energy and explodes, that's a nightmare. What if the creeper's hiss isn't just a warning? What if it's the sound of a failed teleport? Like it's trying to vanish but instead overloads and boom. It could explain why creepers don't drop bones, flesh, or anything remotely normal. They drop gunpowder, which could literally be the result of the teleportation energy failing and getting stored up inside them. They're walking failed teleport engines, ticking time bombs full of unstable end energy that never quite worked. That's also why they only exist in the overworld. The end has Endermen. The overworld has the rejects, the creepers. They're the byproduct of failed end tech, dumped or left behind when it all went wrong. And here's something else. You ever notice how Endermen and creepers are both tall and lanky in their own ways? Creepers don't have arms, yeah, but they still stand upright. And their posture? Weirdly similar to Endermen. It's not like a zombie shuffle. They have that upright, slow, intentional walk. Almost like they're trying to copy something. Like they're stuck imitating a model they can never fully become. Let's talk about the eyes for a sec. Endermen have those bright, glowing purple eyes and that signature void stare. Creepers? Completely different. Black, lifeless. Like the soul didn't load properly. Maybe that's exactly what happened. Maybe creepers weren't meant to have souls. Maybe they're empty shells meant to be filled by ender energy. But something went wrong in the process. The soul didn't transfer. The body was unstable. The result was a shell that explodes when it reaches overload. Now go even deeper with this. What if the creeper's whole behavior, sneaking up on the player and exploding, is actually a last-ditch attempt to complete the failed teleport? Like maybe they sense ender energy in the player. Think about what the player is. You show up in the world with nothing, but somehow you can use ender pearls. You can enter the end dimension. You can fight the ender dragon. Maybe there's something in you, something the creeper recognizes. Maybe it thinks you are the key to finishing its mission. So it approaches. It gets close. It tries to link. And instead of teleporting, it explodes. That makes creepers tragic. They're not evil. They're broken. They were made to be something else, maybe even something amazing. And they failed. And now every time they see a player, they try again. And every time it ends the same way. Boom. Now let's add in charged creepers. We talked about this already, but think about it in this context. A creeper gets hit by lightning, and suddenly, it becomes supercharged. It glows blue, its blast radius increases, and it becomes way more dangerous. But what is lightning? Raw energy. Maybe that's what creepers were missing all along. Maybe lightning is the missing link that awakens the true potential that they were supposed to have. It doesn't give them the ability to teleport, but it pushes them closer to that unstable ender power they were meant to contain. Charge creepers could be the creepers that almost made it, the ones that got a little too close to what they were supposed to become. Still broken, still doomed to explode, but now 100 times more powerful. Like a glitch that nearly patched itself, and then crashed harder than ever. Now picture this. An ancient lab buried deep underground. Somewhere in a stronghold or maybe below an ocean monument. Inside, rows of creepers suspended in some kind of stasis. Test tubes, redstone devices hooked up to ender pearls. Scientists or maybe ancient priests trying to channel the end into something controllable. Creepers were the failed batch. They broke containment. The lab exploded. And now all that remains are the ones that escaped. Still out there. Still trying to finish what they were never built to do. And you, the player, walk right into it without even knowing. You think it's just a green mob. You think it's just another thing trying to ruin your house. But it's more than that. Every hiss, every explosion. It's a failed experiment trying to connect with something it was designed to understand, and never could. The most ironic part? Endermen ignore you unless you look at them. Creepers? They go straight for you. No matter what. Maybe Endermen see something broken in the creepers. Maybe that's why they don't interact. They're like, nah, I'm not dealing with that. They're ashamed, or maybe even afraid. What if Endermen remember the experiments? What if they know exactly what creepers are? What if creepers are the reason Endermen left the overworld in the first place? That opens up a whole new can of worms. Maybe the Endermen used to be part of the ancient civilization that created the creepers. Maybe they watched their people get wiped out by their own creations, and so they fled to the end. A dimension of safety, distance, isolation. That's why Endermen only visit the overworld briefly. Maybe they're checking in, watching, making sure it never happens again. But the creepers are still here, still wandering, still trying to teleport, and still failing in the most violent way possible. So yeah, this theory, it's nuts, but it fits. Creepers are too weird to just be random mobs. Their behavior, their sound, their design, it all points to something that was made, not born. Something broken, something left over from a much, much bigger story. And we, the players, just keep triggering it over and over again, without ever realizing what we're actually dealing with. Creepers, the world's way of pushing back. So here's another theory you probably haven't heard a million times on YouTube. What if creepers aren't enemies? Not like zombies, skeletons, or pillagers. What if they're not even meant to be mobs in the same sense as the others? What if creepers are actually part of Minecraft's built-in reset system? Yeah. I'm talking about them being nature's weird little undo button. Like Minecraft doesn't have natural disasters, no earthquakes, no hurricanes, no volcanoes, no forest fires. So how does the game introduce random destruction? How does it balance out all the endless building, mining, and world-altering stuff players do? Simple. It gives you the creeper. Not because it wants to punish you, but because the game needs something to shake things up. Let's be real. Survival mode can get too easy if you're good at it. Once your base is built, you've got full diamond or netherite gear, and everything's lit up. Not much challenges you anymore. Unless, of course, a creeper sneaks around your back wall and blows up your redstone machine or your chest full of diamonds. Suddenly, you're rebuilding. Suddenly, you're playing again. That's the key to this whole theory. Creepers exist not just to kill you, but to break your control. Because Minecraft is a sandbox game. It gives you tools to build basically anything you want. You're the god of your world. You control everything except creepers. Creepers are the one thing that say, nah, not today. And they're so effective at it because they don't need to be strong. They just need to be annoying. One hiss, one boom, and now you're standing in a crater wondering how your base just turned into a disaster. You ever notice how creepers only spawn in the dark? That feels intentional. The game's like, oh, you didn't light this part up, you left this cave untouched? Cool. Let me spawn a few green disasters over here. And then you forget about that dark spot, go outside. Your base, and suddenly your front door is gone, your pet wolf gone, your floor crater. That's not a bug. That's the creeper doing its job. And here's the craziest part, and the creeper doesn't even try to live. It doesn't run. It doesn't dodge. It walks right up to you and goes out in a blaze of glory. No other mob does that. Zombies try to chase you down. Skeletons keep their distance, Endermen teleport away. But creepers, they commit. It's like they're built for one purpose only. Destroy a chunk of the world, leave a mark, break something, start the chaos. So now imagine creepers not as monsters, but as Minecraft's version of a natural disaster. They're like a tornado that can walk. A sentient bomb that spawns in neglected parts of the world and reminds you that your builds aren't permanent. You can build the most beautiful castle on the server, doesn't matter. Leave one block of shadow inside, and a creeper's gonna show up and blow a hole right through your main hallway. But maybe that's the point. Maybe creepers exist to keep you moving, to stop you from getting too comfortable. Maybe Minecraft was never meant to be about building something perfect and keeping it that way forever. Maybe it was meant to be about constant change, and creepers are the chaos that keeps that loop going. You build, they destroy. You rebuild, And somehow that process is more fun than just sitting on top of a perfect, untouched structure. Let's go even deeper. The creeper's explosion isn't even just for attacking you. It affects the world. It destroys blocks. Most mobs only hurt you. The creeper, though, it's taking the land with it. It's rewriting the terrain, literally altering the map. It's almost like the creeper is part of the world code itself. Like it's some leftover function that Mojang put in as a reminder. This is still survival. You might have tamed wolves, named villagers, built beacon-powered cities. But this is still a place where chaos lives. And chaos wears a green skin and hisses like a fuse. And you know what? Players have adapted to this. Like, we know creepers are a threat, so we light up caves, build fences, set traps, use cats, sleep through the night. But no matter what, one day, one bad day, you slip. You forget to check that one corner, or you're low on food, or you didn't hear the hiss in time, and it's boom, crater, rage quit. And weirdly, that keeps the game alive. It keeps you humble. No matter how rich or powerful you get, the creeper can still ruin you, still set you back. And in a way, that's kind of brilliant game design. Now here's a theory on top of the theory. What if the creeper is drawn to change? Like, what if it can somehow sense when the terrain has been altered too much? Maybe it spawns more around player activity. Like, the more you build, mine, and change the land, the more likely the creeper shows up to say, yo, slow down. Let's mess this up a little. You ever notice how creepers almost know when you're doing something important? Like when you're crafting something rare or placing redstone or standing in your storage room? They always show up at the worst possible moment. Not when you're mining dirt, but when you're holding a silk touch pickaxe and trying to grab that one diamond ore block for your museum. Boom. Gone. Coincidence? Maybe. Or maybe the game is built to give creepers a little extra attention in high-stakes moments, to keep that tension high, to remind you that you're never safe, and that your world, your perfect little base, is always one bad step away from chaos. Even their design makes sense in this context. Creepers are green, the color of grass, vines, nature. They don't stand out, they blend in. They're part of the world. They don't feel like enemies. They feel like, well, like glitches in the system. Walking bugs that reset chunks of the world, one explosion at a time. And maybe that's what they are. A way to shake up the game without needing a storm or lava flood. A way to make you care about defense. To make you rebuild. To keep the cycle alive. Because if Minecraft was only about building, people would eventually get bored. But throw in some green walking disasters. Suddenly you're thinking again, planning again, fighting back against a world that doesn't want to stay still. So maybe creepers aren't bugs. Maybe they're anti-bugs. Code that fights against the players. Control. Like they're the world saying, you changed me too much. Time to even the odds. And every hiss is the system pushing back, balancing out the player's dominance with just enough chaos to keep things fun. In that way, creepers aren't enemies. They're balance. They're the price you pay for changing the world. And maybe, just maybe, that's why they've never been removed, nerfed, or reworked, even after all these years. Because Minecraft needs something that keeps you from feeling like a god all the time. Something that reminds you you're still in survival mode. And nothing does that better than a green, silent creeper in the dark, waiting for the moment you forget, and pressing reset with a single hiss. So let's say everything we've talked about so far, the plant theory, ancient weapons, failed Endermen, even the nature reset system, all of it is just scratching the surface. What if we've been looking at creepers like they're mobs, when in reality they're not mobs at all? What if creepers are errors? Actual physical glitches in the Minecraft code, corruption given a body, walking bugs in the system. I know, it sounds insane, like Herobrine level crazy, but think about it. Minecraft isn't just a game about building and crafting, it's also a simulation. A digital world with rules, logic, chunks, Redstone systems, biome data, lighting levels, entity IDs. Everything in Minecraft runs on code. Even mobs like zombies and skeletons are just behavior packages attached to models. They follow a set of instructions. If player is nearby, chase. If sunlight, burn. If health, Mara 0, drop loot. Simple. But creepers? Their behavior doesn't fit cleanly into the box. And the more you start pulling at the threads, the more you realize something about them just feels off. They act weird, they behave differently than anything else, and they've been in the game since the beginning. Not as a planned feature, but as an accident. A literal model bug. Let's rewind to their origin again. Notch was trying to make a pig. He messed up the height and length values. Instead of deleting it, he gave it a texture, made it explode, and said, "Cool, now it's a mob." But that bug, that coding mistake, it never got fixed. It became a core part of the game. Which is kind of poetic, right? The creeper was born from a glitch. And maybe within the world of Minecraft, it's still a glitch. One that never went away. One that evolved. Maybe creepers are the result of the world engine trying to process something it shouldn't. A chunk fails to load properly. A line of code misfires. Instead of crashing the game, it spawns a creeper. The hiss? It's not a fuse. It's static. The sound of corrupted data building up. And the explosion? That's the world's way of purging the error. What if every creeper is the system's attempt to erase a problem? A broken section of land, a bad loop, a corrupted entity ID. The creeper walks in, finds the issue, and detonates. Like a living error handler. The creeper isn't attacking you, it's attacking the problem, and then sometimes that problem just happens to be you. It explains so much. Why don't creepers make noise when they walk? Because they don't have footsteps. They're not bound to the normal sound systems. They don't even follow the same alert patterns as other mobs. Zombies groan. Skeletons clink. Creepers don't care. They don't even chase you the same way. They just wander, then snap to you with terrifying precision. Like they detected a target, not a person. It also explains why they don't have arms. No claws, no weapons, no ranged attacks. Because they weren't designed. They were glitched into existence, and instead of having an attack animation like every other mob, they just blow themselves up. It's the simplest possible solution to a corrupted entity. Remove everything. Erase the problem. Reset the area. Reload the code. The creeper isn't trying to kill you. It's trying to delete you. And what do they drop when you kill them? Gunpowder. An item that connects directly to TNT and explosions. Not flesh, not bones, not anything organic. Just pure destruction material. If the creeper is a bug made physical, maybe the gunpowder is the leftover error data. The corrupted file fragment. You killed the glitch, but the junk code stayed behind. You know what's really weird? How creepers act around certain blocks, like, why don't they destroy obsidian? Why does water cancel their explosion? Why can they explode behind walls without breaking them all the time? Their interaction with blocks doesn't always follow consistent rules. It's like the game is constantly trying to predict what the creeper is going to do, and sometimes it messes up. Sometimes it feels like they phase through walls. Sometimes it feels like they shouldn't have line of sight, but they still explode anyway. It's like they're slipping between the game's logic. Maybe that's because they don't fully belong in the game world. Maybe they're bugs leaking through. Let's talk corrupted chunks. Ever loaded into a world and found weird generation, like a flat wall cutting into a mountain? A floating village house? A waterfall going the wrong way? Sometimes these things happen due to chunk errors. The world loads weird. But what if the creeper is the mob version of that? The mob chunk error? A data cluster that didn't process right, so it just becomes a creeper. That would explain why they're silent until it's too late. They're not loading all their behaviors properly. Maybe the hiss is the only audio cue that survives the corruption. That one piece of audio code that still works before everything explodes. Maybe creepers don't even realize they're broken. They're just stuck in a permanent loop. Find player. Explode. Find player. Explode. Here's a darker thought. What if the creepers were never meant to stop existing? Like, what if when they explode they don't die in the traditional sense, they just reset, respawn somewhere else? You kill a creeper and think it's gone. But that was just one instance. The error still exists. It'll show up again. Maybe near your base. Maybe in your mind. Maybe right behind you when you're placing that last redstone dust. You ever feel like creepers always show up at the worst possible time? When you're 1 block away from finishing your build. When you're standing on top of a mountain, when you finally find a village. It's almost like they're aware. Like they're hard-coded to find moments of importance and insert themselves into the situation like, yo, you like progress? Let me ruin it. But it's not personal, it's the code. You build. The game detects a high activity zone. Something changes too fast. Boom. Error. Spawn creeper. Reset. And let's talk Herobrine for a sec. Everyone jokes about him being this ghost in the machine. This corrupted entity that watches you and messes with your world. Creepers feel like a weird cousin of that idea. Like mini Herobrines. Tiny, broken pieces of code that aren't intelligent, but are still part of something bigger. What if Herobrine is the central bug, and creepers are the fragments? The scattered errors left over after his deletion. Maybe that's why creepers never appear in the End or the Nether. Those dimensions are more stable, more contained. The overworld is massive, procedural, endless. It's where things go wrong. It's where code stretches too far and starts breaking. That's where the creeper lives. That's where the errors happen. And maybe that's why creepers can't teleport. Maybe they want to. Maybe that's what the hiss is. The game trying to run a broken teleport command and failing. And the result? Explosion. Let's say you're the player. You enter the world, a blank slate. You craft, mine, fight, you take control. But the more you do, the more unstable the world becomes. Every redstone circuit, every piston door, every giant automated farm, it all stresses the system. It all adds complexity. And creepers? They're the price, the pushback, the world trying to fix itself. So when a creeper shows up and ruins your sorting system or your enchantment room, that's not a mob, that's the simulation correcting itself. That's the game cleaning up behind you, wiping the data, taking a breath, and then it moves on, and you rebuild. Because Minecraft isn't about winning, it's about building, losing, and building again. Maybe that's what creepers are, not monsters, not mobs, but reminders. Glitchy, broken, explosive reminders that this world doesn't always follow the rules. Now think about the creeper again. Small, quiet, explodes when threatened, feels weirdly out of place in the rest of the world. What if it's not out of place? What if it's not supposed to be in the overworld at all? What if creepers are escaped, test subjects from whatever ancient horror created the Warden? Let's start with the Deep Dark's ancient cities. Look around them. Massive structures, redstone tech, mysterious symbols, skulk sensors, reinforced deep slate. This place isn't just some cave. It's an ancient lab, a facility, maybe even a prison. Something was being researched or hidden or protected down here. And then it all went horribly wrong. The Warden is what remains. But what if the creeper was part of it? Think about how different creepers are from every other mob. Just like the Warden. Neither drops normal loot. Neither has eyes. Both rely on sneaky mechanics. The Warden hears you. The creeper waits silently. They're not about direct combat. They're about fear. About punishing carelessness. Now imagine this. Long ago, this ancient civilization found something. A force underground. Something related to Skulk. That weird, living block that spreads from death. Maybe they tried to harness it. Maybe they used it to create something. A guardian, a weapon, a warden. And maybe, in those same experiments, They tried to create smaller versions, scouting units, disposable little guards, something less powerful, but easier to mass produce. What if the first prototypes were creepers? It makes sense. Creepers are silent. They destroy without a trace. They're disposable. If one fails, you spawn another. No loyalty, no hesitation. Just walk up, detonate, reset the threat. It's the kind of system you'd expect in a world with skulk sensors, punishment through noise. Maybe creepers were used to enforce silence. Imagine, you make too much noise, a creeper appears, and boom, lesson learned. But something went wrong. Maybe the creepers were too unstable. They couldn't be controlled. Or maybe the warden became too strong. Maybe it broke free and the creepers escaped in the chaos. They fled upwards, into the overworld, glitching through the surface like corrupted files leaking from a broken vault. That's why they don't live underground anymore. They're running, hiding. Maybe they still remember what's down there. Maybe that's why they blow up when threatened. Not out of attack, but out of panic. Think about how creepers behave. They never go toward the deep dark. They never spawn there. The warden owns that space. Creepers are strictly overworld mobs, surface dwellers, survivors, refugees from an ancient lab that's now overrun by something they helped create. And maybe that's why they're so common. Maybe part of their original function was to spread, to scatter and destroy anything that resembled the Deep Dark's technology. When you build with redstone, make mechanisms, create anything smart, maybe you're accidentally echoing the work of that ancient civilization. And creepers sense it, they follow it, and they try to stop you before you dig too deep. It's not that they hate players. It's that they recognize the pattern that led to the warden, to the downfall of the ancient cities, to the silent apocalypse buried under your world. Now here's the freaky part. Creepers explode. Warden doesn't. But Skulk spreads from death. Every time something dies near Skulk, the Skulk grows. Now imagine if creepers were originally designed to farm Skulk. Think about it. Send them into an enemy camp, let them blow up, and let Skulk grow from the bodies. Creepers might be walking Skulk seeders. They're spreading what the ancients used to build the warden in the first place. But now that they're cut off from the deep dark, they don't even know what they're doing. They've become a virus, an endless wandering infection, blowing up anything in their path, leaving nothing but craters and silence. Maybe that's why Skulk doesn't appear when creepers die anymore. Because the link is broken. The creepers lost their connection to the source. But if Minecraft ever updates to add Skulk bombs or corrupted creepers, you'll know this theory was right. It also explains their unnatural behavior, their broken model, their silent footsteps. They were never meant to be alive like other mobs. They were prototypes, lab-grown, experimental creatures designed to obey one rule: silence the noise. And now that they're free, they follow that rule without question. They don't ask who you are. They don't care. You make a noise, you get close, and they delete you. Just like the warden. Only smaller and more tragic. Because here's the final twist. Maybe creepers weren't supposed to explode. Maybe that wasn't the intended behavior. Maybe the explosion is a side effect of leaving the deep dark. They were designed for one environment: darkness, silence, control. And now they're stuck in a bright, chaotic surface world full of loud players and unstable chunks. Their body can't handle it. Their energy overloads, their systems glitch, and boom, they don't want to explode, they just can't survive out here. So the next time you see a creeper, maybe think about this. It's not just a green monster. It's a broken experiment, a failed prototype, an ancient creature that escaped something far worse. And it's not chasing you because it's evil. It's chasing you because it still thinks you're the lab technician that left the door open.